with this again. Nucleic acid. One form of nucleic acid we want to talk about is called ATP, and sorry, you need to memorize the whole name of ATP. It is called adenosine triphosphate. You have to memorize this name. So basically, it has point number 1, point number 2. Well, that's a very long definition. Basically, ATP is the energy molecule for living organism. Yeah. Plant acquire energy from sunlight, but plant they also uses ATP. ATP is the universal form of energy molecule for all living organisms. All living organisms use ATP for energy. We use ATP for all kinds of biomedical reactions. We use ATP to do mitosis, meiosis. We use ATP, well, cell movement. I think about is a sperm. Sperm, they have a flagellum. The beating of flagellum, requires a lot of ATP. So ATP has a structure very similar to a nucleotide we see in DNA and RNA. Why? It has a pentose sugar. It also has a nitrogenous base, but the nitrogenous base here, they are always A, the adenine. That's why we call it adenosine triphosphate. Adenine, they are always A. And they do have phosphate group, but instead of one phosphate group, they have actually 3 phosphate group. There are 3 phosphate group here. Okay. And then that's why we call it adenosine triphosphate, 3 phosphate group. If we break the covalent bond here, so that it becomes ADP, D diphosphate, only 2 phosphate group here, then remember, have I told you that covalent bond stores energy? When we talk about atom and molecule at the beginning of semester, covalent bond stores energy. So when we break a covalent bond, we releases the energy stores in the covalent bond. And that's why ATP is the energy molecule for living organism. And take a look at these 2 reactions here. This reaction I just highlighted on the top, it requires water. No, it does not require water. It removes water. No, it requires water. Sorry. It requires water. So the top arrow here requires water. That's why you put water here. Name this process. Name the process of the top arrow that requires water. You learn about this? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about this. Okay, time's up. The top reaction is called hydrolysis. Yes, this is hydrolysis. Because it needs water to break the covalent bond, or you may call it to break the polymer, to break down the polymer into hydrolysis, into monomers. The polymer is actually here, the highlighted 3 phosphate group here. To break it down into 2 phosphate group and an individual phosphate molecule. In other words, what is the reaction here at the bottom? If the top reaction is hydrolysis, what will be the bottom, opposite or reverse reaction? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about this again. Okay, time's up. You probably get it this time. Dehydration. Correct. Well, I'm not going to write it. It is 2 dehydration. Okay, I can finish it. And this is something that we will talk about very soon, cellular respiration. How do we make ATP? We make ATP from glucose. We make ATP from glucose. Or specifically, I should say that we make ATP from the food that we eat, and then we convert the food into ATP. And for our class, when we talk about cellular respiration later in the semester, we will use glucose as an example to explain to you how we convert food, for example, glucose, into ATP, so that we will have energy to live our daily life. So where do you find nucleic acid? Well, think about this. Where do you find nucleic acid? Basically, to me, everywhere in all your cells. Why? All your cells, they have a nucleus. Nucleus, as long as they have nucleus, then they have DNA. Then that means you have nucleic acid. And also, as long as you have living cell, all living cells, they have ATP. Let's put it this way. Let's put it simplified. All living cells, they have ATP. So all living cells, they have nucleic acid. Where do you find, they call it where. So they are asking you not where. They're asking you what are the types of nucleic acid that we have learned in this class. So it is DNA, RNA, and ATP. These are the 3 types of nucleic acid that we learned from today's lecture. And every cell of an organism, well, I would say every living cell because in our body we do have some dead cell. Dead cell, for example, the surface of your skin, they are dead cells. Every living cell of an organism. Well, if the organism have living well, let's put it this way, living organism, just to be safe. Every living cell of a living organism. Well, the reason is that when you just died, most of your cells, they're still alive. So there is, I think add the word living may not be necessary then. Yeah, every living cell of the organism can be a dead organism, freshly dead organism. Oh, okay, then I'll erase that. So an organism can be freshly dead or can be alive, because only a living organism or a freshly dead organism, they can have living cell. If it is a dead organism for a long time, they don't have living cell, and only living cell, they will have this. Okay, that's a good definition. So red blood cell is like the exception. It has no nucleus. So red blood cell does not have DNA or RNA, but I want you to remember this. Red blood cells do have ATP. Red blood cells, they have ATP. Because red blood cells, they don't have nucleus, they don't have a lot of machinery, we call it organelles, that we will cover in the next chapter, chapter 3. Because they don't have a nucleus, so the lifespan of red blood cell is very short. Take a guess, how long a red blood cell can live in your body? I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. So the lifespan of a red blood cell is only 120 days. And I want you to memorize this magic number as well, 120 days. It is 120 days is the lifespan of average lifespan of a red blood cell. Okay. So summary of the organic molecules. Okay, at this point I want you to pause the video and try to fill in this table. So you pause this video, copy the table, and then try to fill out the table by yourself. Okay, pause the video now, please. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, you can check, see if you got a similar answer. You have to at least get the element correct. The function, well, the function, well, you may, I would say more or less you should be able to get it correct. If you get some of it missing, that's okay. Unique properties, well, that is difficult to guess. Because here you said that nucleic acid, you did not specify it is DNA. But here it specified it is DNA double helix for long-term stability. So if you didn't get the unique property, it's totally okay. It's not very clear. It's not very clear in the unique properties because it didn't specify a lot of stuff. Element, you should at least get it correct because it is a specific. Function, well, you should be able to get most of them correct. Unique property, well, if you get mostly incorrect, that's okay. It's not very specific. Okay, so this is the end of the for the exam 1. Exam 1 cover chapter 1 and chapter 2. This slide is the last slide for the exam 1. Next module, that means for the exam 2, we will cover chapter 3 and 4, which will talk about cell. I talk about a term called cell organelles, so we'll talk about the cell structure and function, and we will also talk about the cell membrane structure and function. If you remember our previous lecture, we talked about cell membrane is made up of what? I'll give you 5 seconds again. Cell membrane is made up of phospholipid. So we will talk about the cell membrane, which is made of phospholipid, in chapter 4. Well, study, please study. Exam 1 is coming up.